Today we're going to talk about how I harden off seedlings. And you know, I have listened to or heard many different people, gardeners, that do it different ways. But if you're like me and you're lazy, you'll want to stick around to see how I do it. Okay, so how I harden off seedlings. You can see I have all of my seedlings out here. Well, not all of them. I've got a few inside still and some in the greenhouse. I have my seedlings out here to get used to the sun, a little bit of a breeze. Now, many times you'll hear people say, bring them out for an hour, take them back in. The first day or two, and then you lengthen that each day. To me, that's too much work. As I said, I'm lazy. I don't have time for that. I'm sure many of you don't either. What I do is I bring them out onto my back deck. Now, back here, there's a windbreak here and here. And I will have you know that I don't pick a very windy day. I mean, there's a little bit of a breeze today, and it is not hot. It has barely reached 60 degrees today. And I brought my plants out before it had got to 60. It hadn't even got fully to 50 degrees, but the sun was shining when I brought my plants out here, even my tomatoes. Now, what happens through the day, because I leave them out here all day, or a good portion of it, there's trees, tall trees to that side, and that's where the sun is coming from this time of year. It's not straight overhead. So the sun going that direction, it goes behind the trees for a portion of the day. They do get shaded. This is April 20th. When I do this depends on the temperatures. As long as it's not too hot, they will be fine. It is when they're too hot that they can't handle the direct sun for very long. And it's not too cold, because a lot of these are tender perennials or annuals. And not my tougher ones. All my tougher ones have already been out, like my violas and pansies and things like that. Cool weather flowers, snapdragons, those type of things. So out here today I have my tomatoes, I have my peppers, I have coleus, I have petunias, I have the salvias. I'm looking around to see what all I got. I got some echinacea seedlings. So a lot of, as I said, warm weather liking annuals and or perennials, salvia or perennials. So that's basically how I do it. I will bring these in tonight, later on as the sun's going down and it's really dropping in temperature, and then I will bring them back out tomorrow, and they'll get the same treatment. And as long as they're well watered and there's not too big of a wind, and the temperatures don't get too warm. Now later on this week, the temperatures are going, well, this is towards the end of the week, but the next few days, the temperatures are going to reach 70 during the day. So it may be a little too warm for them, because they hadn't really acclimated to the sun, and it just, combined with that extra heat, it may be too much. So I have another spot out front that gets a little bit more shade, that I'll put them out there. They'll get some sun and a lot more shade, but they'll be outdoors getting the breeze. It helps toughen them up, but they'll get enough sun to do what I need them to do to get used to being outside. And as it's warming up, these will go in the greenhouse instead of on the light racks in my house. Now the temperatures are not supposed to get below 40 the next 10 days. So that's why I can go ahead and put them in the greenhouse, because it stays a little bit warmer in there this time of year. And then they could stay in there, and I could take them in and out from down there in a spot next to the greenhouse that will help them to harden off without getting scorched. Also, another way I do it is I had a video, yes I did, of how I put a remesh panel over one of my raised beds, and I make a hoop house with it. And I would put greenhouse plastic over that to create a mini greenhouse effect. That would protect them. I also have frost cloth. That's kind of a white meshy material over that, and it would shade them enough that they could go ahead and get acclimated. The two ends are open so it doesn't get too hot in there, and a breeze could blow through and blow against them. But that is another way I harden off seedlings, and I'm not taking them in and out by the hour. As I said, I just don't have time for that, and I know a lot of you don't either. So that is how I harden off my seedlings, and have done so for several years, because it's just easier for me. So I hope you enjoyed this short explanation of how I harden off my seedlings, and I hope you come on back for my next video. Bye. Just a quick look at some more of my seedlings. These are sitting on the deck rail, not far from where we were filming, and look at my beautiful new Japanese maple. I had to, you know the way that works, some that were severely damaged this last winter in that 8-9 foot of snow, and this one leapt into my cart at the garden center, and I couldn't resist it. Okay, there you have it. More seedlings hardening off. So here we're out here again. This is the next day, and you can see how during this time of the day it's shaded. But in probably about half an hour, the sun will come around the trees again, and they'll all be in direct sun. So even back there, you can see those ones back there already getting sun. So that's how it goes. Sun, shade, then sun. And it's a breezy today, so they're getting that little bit of hardening off too with the breeze. But that's how I do it. I mean, I brought them out here this morning as soon as it got a little bit above, almost near 50 degrees. And then I leave them until evening. I'm not going in and out after an hour or 2 hours. And if it was warm enough, I would be putting many of these out. But our last frost date's not till the end of May, and this is only April 21st. So I've got about a month to go. Some will get potted up as they get a little bit bigger. And many of these, as soon as I get done cleaning out the greenhouse a little more, they'll go in there because our nights are staying a little bit warmer finally. So they won't be in the house anymore, and I can start some of my warm weather annuals and vegetables. And none of those can go out in the garden until after the third weekend of May. So that's why I wait till now to get started. So I wanted to show you what to watch for when you're hardening off your seedlings. Now here is an example of one that is stressed. Actually, there's two. Now these may have got too much sun, so they got a little scorching. Got hotter yesterday than I anticipated. Also, though, watch the moisture level in the soil. Could be they got dried out. So these will still come outside today. This is the third day, but I will make sure they are in much more shade, because it is supposed to be much warmer, and we're going to be gone all day. So I need to make sure these have plenty of moisture so that they can thrive, not shrivel up and die. All my other trays look fine. So all I could think is either this one was an area of this back deck that got more sun, or it just dried out too much that it didn't protect it. So I will make sure that it is taken care of today, or I could also put it in the greenhouse where the light is more diffused. So that's another option. But I'm thinking I'm just going to put it in a shady spot and make sure it's well watered. Okay, I will see you in the next video.